Welcome back, you guys. This is another tropical update here of Major Hurricane Beryl, and wow, this morning it has intensified like crazy, back into a Category 4. Did weaken a bit, about 10 miles an hour as of last night. Went through an eye wall replacement cycle. Right now, trying to regain strength again, and become its peak winds. I do think the peak is going to happen today, and then it's going to gradually go downwards and then probably bottom out around like a strong Category 2 to a weak Category 3 as it makes through Jamaica and some of the islands. So we take a look at the IR satellite here. What I can tell is the eye is not fully clear, trying to clear out. We have an inner eye wall and an outer eye wall with last night, but very nice storm, very symmetrical banding features, and I do expect that to continue throughout today. And with the inner eye wall in the what I'm seeing with the craft, I do not know if there's another exploding convection, and yes, it is. That's why. So what I see is an outer eye wall out here and then an inner eye wall right here. So that means on the outer eye wall, probably up to 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Inner eye wall, up to 150-mile-an-hour wind gusts. But the eye is getting a lot more symmetrical, trying to clear out, and we're gonna have to really be on a watch of that because that could mean even more rapid intensification. It was going through intensification rapid through the last few days, finally stopped yesterday morning, and then it's right back to it. So we take a look at Recon, what they have found, and clearly they are finding a much huger outer eye wall here, as there is some cameras in these islands and they are finding just offshore hurricane force winds sustaining. And one thing I notice is the northern side to this is very strong. They are even finding some hurricane force wind gusts very far north into almost the Barbados, and even north of those, definitely tropical storm force winds just offshore of these smaller islands, hurricane force. And I'm very curious what they are going to find within this eye wall right here. And I'm afraid that they could find Cat 5 hurricane wind gusts. They already started finding some of that. And one thing they're doing right here is this. So, okay, I see what they are doing. There's two aircrafts they do not want to intercept, so this one's kind of retreating back, and this one might just leave, and the other one might do its rest of the work. But you can tell clearly much bigger wind fields as of this morning, and a huge wind field of major hurricane force winds. And now these islands are probably going to be impacted with some major hurricane force winds and wind gusts even farther outside. We take a look at the data here, and wow, very stunning. What they found is 135-mile-an-hour knots. That's about 145 to 150-mile-an-hour winds, with the pressure being about a 158. So that's just very significant. This one's going to go right back into it. This is pretty crazy to me how we're seeing 135 here easily on the surface. That's 140 to 145, so they might up this even more throughout the day. I do think the peak is probably 145, 150. I do not see a Category 5. Only way this becomes a Category 5 if I start seeing the millibars dropping to the 940s even before it makes a landfall. But we're going to have to really be careful with that. The further environment on this is going to be very interesting, as right now there's no shear near Jamaica and where this storm is heading, but there is shear out ahead of this. But at the same time, the shear is moving outwards when this storm is moving in the same direction. So that's why it's been under this pocket of good area of no really wind shear, and honestly just subtracting the wind shear. And even there, it's favorable in the yellow, it's neutral and unfavorable in the red. You do not see this hurricane in the red, you do see it in the green, and still a lot of green ahead of this. So the environment in this is still very well, and that's why it's been breathing extremely well here. We take a look at the future. Once again, this strengthens this weekend. The wind shear just keeps on moving with the storm. So even out ahead of this is going down another minus 10 miles an hour. So that's very significant. The environment is still very good out ahead of us. And I don't even want to take a look at the models really, because some of the models are just not seeing the environment it even is in right now. This, once again, probably going to strengthen. HERF has it strengthening, continuing into a 944, 942, bottom out in the next 24 hours as a Category 5 as it passes through the islands, then starts weakening back into a Category 4, Category 3, and then a Category 4 potentially again as it makes closer to Yucatan. Makes landfall, comes out in the Gulf, and already starts intensifying in the Bay of Campeche. So there's still things up in the air. I'm going with the HERF right now, and that's the only one because the other models showing Category 2 as of right now, and it's actually a Category 4. So the HERF is probably the closest to accuracy with these models right now, but once again, just an incredible storm, and clearly we just found this out. So once again, they did find major hurricane force wind gusts, not as much, I do not think, but they're looking for a pressure probably in this direction. So right now it's looking like it could make landfall on one of these smaller islands, but besides that, I think the eye might miss it. Accuracy, yeah, see. So yes, the wind's about the same. Millibar pressures still very low. Um, Probably around that 140. We're gonna have to see with some drop ons here because I'm very curious on that. This one is, I don't know what it's. Oh, okay. So it actually made a loop. Something's going on with this aircraft. They're doing loopy loops, but probably because they're finding some vortices within it. That's probably what I'm thinking here. I don't know why they did do this, where they're doing this. Oh, but it's probably the deeper convection seeing. So we're gonna just have to see in the next coming hours, and if this continues to upgrade, I will probably make a shorts on that. So stay tuned if this updates. But that's probably gonna wrap this video up. Thank you for the subscribers last night and everything. So there it is, the last view before I go of the satellite. I continue to symmetrical, trying to get more symmetrical, trying to clear up even more than previous, and I do expect more intensification through the next coming hours. Have a great night, day, and see you tomorrow.